Yesterday, it was announced that San Antonio Reagan quarterback Kellen Mond, a Baylor commit, and what appears to be, and I don't know his heart, and I don't know what's going on in his brain, but seems to be a pretty solid Baylor commit.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like he's
Does not seem that is
around.
under siege.
He is transferring. He is going to transfer for his senior year, and he is not transferring to Goliad, or he's not transferring to Allen or Lubbock Coronado or El Paso Coronado. No, he's transferring to IMG Academy in Florida, which is, for those who don't know, IMG Academy is a prep school set up by IMG, which is this big major conglomerate that owns a lot of different sports entities, including a number of they have a number of sports agents.
Yes.
I think it is worth mentioning before we get into this, for the sake of transparency, that Dave Campbell's Texas Football at one point was owned by IMG. It is not and has not been for a couple of years, but for the sake of transparency in this conversation, I feel like that's important, that I have cashed a check from IMG before.
Yes.
But this is something that I know that Texas high school football coaches and Texas high school football fans have feared for a while. That here is this big-time player, and make no mistake, let's get this out of the way. This is a significant loss for the state of Texas.
Sure.
Kellen Mond is a tremendous quarterback. He's going to be a senior next year. He threw for almost 2,000 yards last year. He ran for 900, and he is a dual-threat guy. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He turned Reagan into a real contender, driving them into, let's see. Actually, that's right. They got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
I believe he's
because
most recruiting services. I think Rivals has him as the number 5 dual-threat QB in the nation.
He's a big-time player.
Yeah.
He's a big-time player, and Texas high school football will be worse because he's not playing in it.
Yes.
That's a significant loss for Texas high school football, but I think it's worth mentioning that this was a decision that Kellen Mond and his family had to make, because they're not going to the school down the street. I mean, he's picking up his life, and he's moving to Florida. And that's a big decision for anybody. You know, if you were to you came from Connecticut, you know, you're a filthy Yankee. You had to pick up your life with your family and move them there, but that wasn't the kind of thing you go, oh, I'm just going to move. You know, there's a lot of things that go into that decision.
Well, no, I mean, they said, do you want to work with Greg Tepper? And I obviously
who could
jetted across the country.
You're
absolutely right. It's a huge pain in the butt. Lots of things had to go into this decision. I mean, I suppose you just fundamentally say that Kellen Mond and his family felt he would be better prepared for Baylor if he was under the tutelage of IMG Academy and not the fine folks at San Antonio Reagan.
Sure. Which is their prerogative. It's their decision, and he's not the first to go and play for IMG Academy. And you know what? He's not the last. He won't be the last. And I'll say that this has sparked a lot of conversation on Twitter between people that we know and we respect and whose opinions we respect. And I think that I think there's a lot of facets to this. And I do think there are legitimate concerns about something like an IMG Academy or a prep school that is plucking some of the best talent from the state of Texas. For one, they can recruit. You know, they can come and say, hey, you should come play for us. Now, granted, they are not under any sort of, and they don't have any sort of guidelines, really. They can do what they want. They are, when they played DeSoto earlier this year, I referred to them as a team of mercenaries. And you know what? They are.
They are.
IMG Academy, you know, if you're a fan or you're not a fan, I think we can all agree that these are guys who were handpicked, brought in to be a team of mercenaries. Now, they've got bigger aspirations. Obviously, this is more of a college prep thing.
Yes.
Where they want to be getting the kind of coaching and the kind of football-focused upbringing, if you will.
Well, I don't think... I think, obviously, like I said before, the main pitch here is this will prepare you better to be the guy in college than your high school ever could. This isn't, and couldn't possibly be, any sort of pitch for camaraderie or come with us and we'll win everything.
There's nothing to win.
There's nothing to win. It's basically a traveling team of all-stars.
Yeah.
And
let's be real about something. Yeah. Kellen Mond has made the decision, and his family has made the decision that it is more important for him to go there than it is to compete in Texas high school football.
Yeah.
And that is something that it is to go and compete for championships.
Yes.
Because at the high school level, because that's just not something he made that kind of transaction in his mind and said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And good on him. Yeah. Everybody is entitled to their decision.
Yeah, there's no wrong decision here. Yeah.
There's not. But there are legitimate concerns about an IMG coming in and plucking some of the best talent from the state of Texas.
For
sure.
sure.
And as fans of Texas high school football, that's concerning because we want to keep the best talent in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Now,
to that point, our good friend Matt Stepp made the point on Twitter, and has made the point on Twitter in the past when this has come up, that Texas teams under no circumstance should ever agree to schedule IMG Academy because it only sort of perpetuates or brings this future faster.
Or gives them legitimacy.
Yeah.
And I can understand that point.
Yeah.
I think that there are teams that already have enough trouble filling up their schedule that if you have an opportunity to play that kind of team, and there are coaches who are going to say, you know what, this is the kind of team we need to beat to win a state championship, and so we want to prepare them. I think but I also see Matt's point, which is, all you're doing is by playing IMG, you're giving them legitimacy, and I certainly appreciate that point. Here is my overarching stance on this, and I know this may not be a popular one.
Uh-oh, here we go. Buckle up.
The sky's not falling.
Well, not yet.
We got a lot of Chicken Littles out here who are saying, oh my God, this is the beginning of the end of Texas high school football. This is it. Well, first of all, let's also not act like Texas high school football, this same thing isn't going on, okay? Players transfer. I don't know. Do you remember a quarterback who moved in from Minnesota to go play at Allen? And I didn't hear a whole lot of people saying, oh, well, look at all these people flocking from Minnesota to go to Texas to play Texas high school football.
It's all relative. It's certainly all relative.
There are, for every one player who's going to go to IMG Academy or is going to move to a prep school, let's say 15 more open up. For every one player, there's going to be 2 that move to Texas because they want to play Texas high school football.
This is a fair point.
So there's a transactional element to this. And beyond that, here's the other thing, and this was the first thing that hit me when this kind of came out, and there was a big conversation on Twitter about it in the summer. Are we just going to start acting like private schools don't exist?
I think some people in Texas do.
They exist.
Sure.
If you want to go and go to a football-focused school, they exist in Texas already.
Yeah.
There are private schools that can go out and quote-unquote recruit.
Yeah.
And go out and say, hey, come play for our team.
Yeah.
Yes, you won't be able to play in the UIL, but hey, this is going to help you. We're going to get you better coaching. These schools exist. And so I pulled up an article. If I may read a little bit of an article. This is oh no, I think I closed out of it. Oh, Greg, what'd you do?
Now you've done it.
And now I've done it. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Did I find it?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Let me see if I can find it. But essentially, there was the first thing I wanted to do when I got in was I wanted to Google Jesuit UIL, because this same freakout happened in 2003.
Right.
When the UIL let Houston Strake Jesuit and Dallas Jesuit into their realm, into their here we go. I found it. It's from January 15, 2013, from the Amarillo Globe News. John Caltafleiter. I'm sorry, John. You have a very nice mugshot. Let me see. And at this time, Panhandle teams seem immune to the problem. But what happens 10 years down the road when, for instance, an area football team runs into a private school from Dallas in the state playoffs? Any private school, 31, area team, nothing. That's what happens. Hey, Max, how many state championships have Dallas Jesuit and Houston Strake Jesuit combined for in football?
Oh, I was about to. Damn it, you ruined my joke.
I know I did.
I was going to be like, in soccer?
In soccer, for sure.
Yeah.
How many have they combined for in football?
Goose
How
egg.
many state
Big ol'
title
goose egg.
game appearances have they made?
Goose egg.
How many state semifinal game appearances have they made?
Goose egg.
That's the thing. We've already freaked out about this.
Yeah.
We did this 13 years ago.
Also,
and Texas high school football is not floundering.
Yeah.
It's thriving.
It's thriving, and if you want to take the step further in the Chicken Little argument, IMG Academy opens one up in Dallas. There is no way in hell UIL's letting IMG Academy into the UIL playoffs.
No,
so
they would exist in the
what
same.
Are we doing?
They would exist in the same way
Yeah.
that a big private school in Texas exists. That Plano Preston would exist.
Right.
Okay, they would exist in the same way.
Yeah.
That they would. That there are positive. There are reasons that people want to go play for Plano Preston would.
Yeah.
For one thing, there's obviously a religious element to it. There's a number of people who want to go there because they want their children to get a religious experience. But beyond that, maybe your religion is football. And you want to go and play for IMG. Well, that's fine. You're not going to be in the UIL.
Right.
And that's fine. These things exist.
Yeah.
We freaked out about this before. So this notion that IMG, that Kellen Mond leaves to go to IMG Academy, and all of a sudden this is the mark of the beast. This is the doomsday scenario for Texas high school football. I just don't think there's evidence to support that.
Here's one thing I wanted to ask you because it's something that I was talking about with our friend Step.
Yes, boo.
Don't call me that. It's so weird. Where are you on this line of we have to preserve Texas high school football as it currently and previously existed in every form and function versus there's a lot of money to be made here and the snakes are going to get to it eventually?
Sure, and that's a legitimate concern, and it's probably one worth devoting an entire segment to, but I will say that I think that there is a balance to be struck between tradition and progressivism. That I think that we don't necessarily have to go whole hog into we have to reinvent the wheel and Texas high school football needs to make wholesale changes.
Sure.
Versus being stuck in the mud and just being naive to the ways of the world. I think that there is a balance there, and this is kind of my whole view on life generally is that I don't vote red, I don't vote blue, I vote right down the middle.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's down the middle on these things, and I think that for me there is a balance to be struck between Texas high school football and making money versus Texas high school football as a traditional element and how it exists today. And we've already seen it take steps, expanding the playoffs, okay? Expanding the playoffs, we can talk about whether or not it's good. I don't mind it.
Yes.
But essentially, you can draw that back to the fact that it makes more money.
Yeah.
So it's already happening.
Right.
I think we need to put in safeguards to make sure it doesn't go spiraling off a cliff.
Sure.
But for me, I think that this notion that Texas high school football has to be this, completely... You can't. It's got to be traditional. Can't be touched by any sort of outside influence. I think it's naive. I think that it's already being touched by that kind of outside influence.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm sure that IMG Academy will come up again. Congratulations to Kellen Mond. Seems like it's going to be a fun gig for him to go out there and play for IMG Academy. I look forward to seeing what he can do.
You hope that decision pays off in every way. And like we mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem like it's going to affect his Baylor commitment anyway. No. I know Brian Peroni commented on it the other day. I think I saw David Smoke had something up too that doesn't seem to factor in at all, other than he just thinks he'll be prepared better by going out there.
And good on him. Congratulations to him and his family, and best of luck to them the rest of the way. We'll miss him. I think we'll say that. I'm comfortable saying I will miss watching Kellen Mond.
Yeah, I mean, we all lose as fans because, but what we care about doesn't really matter when it comes to Kellen Mond and his family.
That's true. He's got to do what's right for him.
Yep.